day, everyone, and you're welcome to the new session on our Certificate 3 in Individual Support. Today, we'll be talking about the topic CHCCOM005, which is communicate and work in health or community services. But before we start, I would like to acknowledge the country. I begin today's program by acknowledging the First Nation people here, the traditional custodian of the land on which we are meeting today. And I pay my respect to the elders past and present. And I also extend the respect to Aboriginal and Terrestrial Islander people here today. Communication. Well, there's this saying that communication is the key. However, just as a saying is in any sector, it is a very paramount and life-saving when it comes to health sector. So communication is a very big deal, and the way and manner we handle it goes a long way on how we can support or even keep our loved one, the people in our care, as well as the way we relate with others. So communication means the impacting or exchanging of information by speaking, writing, or using some other medium. And communication is a two-way process. Effective communication is very, very important in teamwork and effective diverse of services that is rendered. We have different ways of communicating. Some of them include the verbal, that is verbal communication, non-verbal communication, and also we have the writing communication skill. So this type of communication verbally most of the time might be face-to-face or through the use of telephone meetings. And nowadays we have a lot with regards to IT. You can be communicating to people through your WhatsApp, other social media network. All these are verbal communication when you're talking to one another through this medium. Other than the verbal communication, we have the non-verbal communication, which is use of body language, facial expression, hand gesture, hand contact, eye contact, touch, to mention but few. So, and this particular aspect of communication, which is the non-verbal communication, it's the most used when it comes to working in this industry. This is where you put on your observation cap and you watch and support your clients even without them telling you what is going on. You can let them know that, yeah, I can see that you're going through something. Would you like to share it? Would you like to tell me about it? So these are some of the ways that we can get or provide the necessary bonding that our clients can always rely on us to come for the reassurance whenever they are going through anything. Written communication is in form of documentation, the progress note, the incident report, and the rest that we make use when we are working in this industry. And it's a very big deal, particularly when it comes to how to gather the necessary data that will support our clients in achieving their day-to-day activities. As I said earlier, the non-verbal communication is a very big deal because most of the time when you are working in this industry, you might be working with non-verbal clients that or you can be working with clients that due to situation, due to trauma, they don't really believe in sharing a lot of things. So you will be relying most on how you can identify the non-verbal clue that they are likely to be showing. Reinforce or modify what is said in words. Convey information about their emotional states. Define or reinforce the relationship between people. And it also provides feedback to the other person. Regulate the flow of communication, for example, by signaling to others that they have finished speaking or even wishing to say something. All these clues will be very, very important when you are supporting mostly your clients. Other mode of communication, we have the interpersonal communication and intraoperative communication. Interpersonal communication is a two-way communication or exchanging of information between two or more people or two or more parties, e.g. speaking, listening conversation, using a form of role play, writing in social media, text message, email, to mention but few. While the interpretive communication is like a one-way communication whereby you are probably reading a book or you are singing. This is like you don't really expect any form of feedback when you are using this particular communication. Listening to a song, speech, or message, view of authentic material, video play are some of examples of the interpretive communication. Presentation communication is also a one-way communication which is intended for audience of reader or listener. No active engagement or negotiation is actually involved in this particular type of presentation as well. Examples include writing in newspaper, articles, stories, TV shows, drama presentation, and so on. So, mode of communication. Two simple modes of communication include: from the source, we generate a message, and that message of course go through a particular channel before it gets to the receiver. This particular model is that of Bellow's SMCR model, while the Aristotle model is sending information, that is, we have a sender or the speaker, then from the speaker the message is passed out and it gets out, so it reaches the receiver. So depending on what you are thinking of, depending on the sector you find yourself, both communication model can be used depending on who and how you are actually treating things. For example, if you are working in the healthcare sector now and someone is in the toilet and they are just trying to get to you, instead of calling your name, they can use the call bell to call you, and the moment you see the signal, sometimes it can come to you as a text message, it can come to you as a notice on your phone, that is the facility phone. It can come, or it can just vibrate and let you know that this is where the message is coming from. Then you can just quickly go in there and support that person appropriately. So some tips for communication include: be conscious that your emotion will show through. Vary your voice and tone as well as the pitch that you are using to actually discuss things with your client or your participant or resident, depending on where you're working. If you want people to accept your ideas, show them your level of enthusiasm in what you are about to discuss with them. Let them know that you actually there to hear their view as well, and not just pushing what you believe is right onto them. Be aware of the gesture, your body gesture, and the impact such is making on them, and make sure you maintain appropriate eye contact. And when, depending, of course, you don't forget there are some people that culturally they expect you to lower your gaze when you're speaking to them, particularly when you're working with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander elderly people. They believe that if you are looking them in the eye, it's a form of disrespect. We need to really understand the culture as well when we are communicating with our clients, understand where they are coming from, what type of culture, and how exactly does it relate to them when it comes to communication. And this leads us to the principle of effective communication. For you to have a very strong and effective communication, you need to know who your audience are. With regards to us working in the health industry, if you are a carer or you're working with elderly, of course, most of the time your audience would be the elder people, that is the residents in your facility. And what exactly is the purpose of this information that you're gathering? How will this information affect them, or how will it impact their recovery, or even them living a productive life while they are living in your care? What exactly is the topic that you are intended to talk about? Anticipate the objections, or what the expected outcome is likely to be. Present a random picture, that is, give them a wide range of ideas, as well as let them know how each idea, or what each idea is likely to lead to, which of course will give them opportunity to make an informed decision if they are intended to make decision on the information or that you are passing to them. Achieve credibility by your audience. Follow through on what you say. Don't just say, oh, Ben, sorry, I'll be back in 5 minutes, and because they needed your support at that time, you just give them that random information, I'll be back in 5 minutes, and you don't actually come back in that 5 minutes. That doesn't give a very good picture of who you are. So try to say what you can actually deliver. It's better to promise less and deliver high. If you said you are coming in 5 minutes, try to be there in 2 minutes, so that you can be they will know that, yeah, you really value them. Communicate a little at a time, because most of the time people you are working with, they might have challenges with processing that information. So give them enough time to be able to digest it, and for them to actually respond as well. Present information in several ways that will clarify what you are planning or what you are intending to let them know. Develop a practical, useful way of getting feedback, and use multiple communication techniques that can actually support you in giving the appropriate information, and in a way that your client can easily relate with. And once you pass all this information, it's very, very important to confirm their understanding. This is by asking questions, observing their body language, the facial expression, their nodding, or even asking them to even repeat or give you or summarize what you have already informed them. An open-ended question, of course, will also give you opportunity to really see whether they understand where you're coming from and what is it that you are actually passing across, that you are telling them. Right. Some of the open-ended question can just be question, pattern, type, and examples. These are examples of open-ended questions. Some question can be yes or no. Some question can be different patterns, simple, present, or present progressive. Do you ski, or are you driving? Did the children go to bed? These are some of the questions that you can pass to your client, depending on, of course, what you are trying to achieve. It allows the person to describe their needs. Where do you live? How have you been after the surgery? These are some example of open-ended question that gives your client opportunity to actually answer you and give you the right information about how they are feeling. While some close-ended question can involve a yes or no type of question, and it is a greater whether, isn't it? For that's just an example of open-ended question. It's is it hot or cold out there? Yes, it's hot. So you want to move into a high care house with your furniture and bouquets, true, isn't it? Just questions that will enable them to really understand and respond back to you, depending on what you are intended to achieve. So you can use both open-ended and close-end question to get information from your clients. In an aged care, or while you are working as an individual support person, these are some of the people that you communicate with on a daily basis. The first person you communicate is your clients, followed by their family. Of course, you communicate with your colleagues, your supervisor, as well as team members. Other than this, you will also communicate with the government agency, well, depending on the capacity at which you are operating, nurses, doctors, and even allied health practitioners. And yeah, that is where we are going to be calling it a day with regards to this particular video, and I will see you next time. Thank you.